Hello and welcome to what's going to be a Cage Warriors 157 London preview. My name is Frank Bonada. I'm here with Mr. Murdo Todd. First of all, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a good card this weekend. If you're familiar with Cage Warriors, I think you'll be familiar with um, quite a few of the names on here.
It's a brilliant card. Yeah, there's name value from top to bottom, and they keep you like adding fights even up until like literally fight week. Takamandu just got added like yesterday. Obviously he was on that Dublin card last time, part of Team KF. But yeah, there's a title fight at the very top, and then just names after names all the way down. Huge card as well. How much is that one?
17 fights.
17 fights is mental. You're getting your
They
value.
love
They
it.
may not be every week or even every month, Cage Warriors, but when when they come in force. And next week we've got Rome as well. But let's get stuck into that main event. Two veterans of UK MMA, Mick Stanton. Um, he obviously got that win over Will Curry, a massive underdog win. Sort of weathered the storm early on, and his cardio took him to victory over a guy who a lot of people were thinking, he's one or two wins away from getting in the UFC. Obviously, on the other side, James Webb, he's a Team KF guy, I think. Yeah, Team KF. Very good grappler. Maybe lacking a bit on the feet, but coming off a solid win over Paddy McCory, which was at Cage Warriors 153. What's the initial read on this one, mate?
Yeah, first of all, it's a good fight. Be competitive, I reckon. They've obviously fought before, but I think Mick's just having a bit of a moment at just now, kind of late in his career. Had some really good wins, and that win over Darren Stewart now looks even better with Stewart's win over Bonner. So yeah, listen, and the Curry win was very impressive. A lot of people very high on Will, and just kind of almost old manned him in a bit, just kind of bit of veteran. Just it would have
Yeah.
been super frustrating for Will in that one, but yeah, I expect Mick to get it done, but I expect to be kind of a hard fight for the both of them.
Yeah, I favour Mick as well. I think, like you say, he is on a nice little roll at the moment. Yeah, his last like few wins, Will Curry, Khan, but Darren Stewart, Curry, Stewart, and then I guess further back, yeah, not so impressive. But those couple of wins there are really solid
Yeah,
against James Webb, who, if he can't really take the fight to the floor, I think he might struggle. Obviously, Mick Stanton did have most of his success against Curry on the ground, so it'd be interesting to see that play out again. Obviously, the first time it was Webb that came out on top. Yeah, it's an interesting fight. Good to see two veterans of UK MMA in the sort of top spot on a nice London card. So yeah, you can't complain. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. But look, we've got so many fights on this card. Let's move on. Give us one that sticks out to you, Murdo.
Well, I interviewed him recently. Madras Fleminas will take on Daniel Skibiński. I'm not really sure on the order because all on Tapology it says
Ah,
that the main card is if every single one of them.
yeah,
But man, you look at Fleminas' record, it is unreal. He's got wins over Oban Elliott, Mick Stanton, we just spoke about, George Ardwick, and Matt Bonner as well. Dude's an absolute beast. Listen, he is high. There's a lot of Cage Warriors fighters you look at, and maybe you go, well, I don't really see them going on further. Maybe on the European scene.
mm,
He definitely has the talent to compete in the likes of Bellator or whatever. Maybe even the UFC probably. But a win here, I think, sets him up for a title fight. I know that's what he's wanting. So yeah, should be a good one. Skibiński is experienced. And you bring the wrestling, so yeah, should be a good one.
definitely. And like considering Reese McKee just signed to the UFC, there's now a vacant spot in the welterweight title. Um, it'll be a good fight as well. Skibiński, yeah. I mean, he's sort of like he's gonna bring the wrestling, and I don't. It's a strange one with him because he gasses out, but he sort of carries on through it, like he fights through it.
Like a
Uh,
Dricus Duplessis kind
a
of
little
thing.
bit, yeah. Except like more wrestling heavy.
And
what?
I'm just gonna throw a dig in there, but I just nothing.
Honestly, I can't even mock
Yeah.
this anymore. He fucking beat Rob, so it is what it is. Yeah, Matt. I mean, this is one thing we were talking about a while back. His record is like ridiculous if you look down at like the wins
Yeah.
that he's got. He's got a win over Mick Stanton. He's got a win over Oban Elliott. He's got a win over George Hardwick, a win over Matt Bonner, Jesse Erholin as well. Like his wins are all really good, and the losses
And
are nothing to scoff at either. Figlack, Jack Grant, and Carlo Pedrosoli. Like good.
if you
Good.
think about it, Elliott, Stanton, Hardwick, they're some of the best talent that Cage Warriors has across 3 divisions.
For
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's sick, man. I like him. I rate him.
Yeah, he always brings it as well. That
Yeah.
I think that's definitely one of the most competitive fights on the card as well, though, because I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for him at all. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
cracking fight is a good one to call out.
Jordan Vucenic will be fighting again. Listen, I think it's his opponent, not anything like, not a major challenger, definitely not the best fighter he's ever faced, but Vucenic is super talented, and it's another one of these guys that it's like, you could see him fighting in the UFC and doing really well. Obviously had that epic war with Paul Hughes. I'm not really sure what's happening with Paul Hughes. Everyone's saying he wants in the UFC, and he's definitely UFC level. And do you know what? Do you know what? These guys are UFC level because the amount of, if you watch an Apex card and there's like an early featherweight fight, there's no way that these guys can beat them. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous that the hoops that some of these guys have got to jump through to make it to the next level. But Vucenic, one of those guys that super talented. There's Harry Hardwick. There's a lot of really talented featherweights at Cage Warriors at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely loads of them, and I completely agree. Vucenic, Hughes, Hardwick, and Morgan Charrier could all be in the UFC easily. Yeah. I think the one thing that, well, it's a tricky one. Like Charrier's in this card as well. He's definitely one to watch. He's lost to both Hughes and Vucenic, so I think that's probably what's holding him back. Plus, if you look at, I guess I'm sort of going on to Charrier now as one to sort of break down, but if you look at Charrier's record, it really isn't bad. It's just at the very start of his career, he took like 3 or 4 consecutive losses, like at the very start of his career. And then since then, he's only losing to guys like Soren Bach and Saladin Parnasse, who, there's no shame in those sort of losses. No. Or like I said, Vucenic and Paul Hughes. So yeah, he's taking on Diego Silva. It's someone that he should be beating realistically.
Yeah.
A way to start, putting together a highlight resume, because that's the one thing again that I think is limiting those. These are like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, isn't it? It's Charrier, Hardwick, Hughes, and Vucenic. A lot, they do tend to go to decisions. That's the one thing I think that is limiting their careers a little bit. They are.
But you watch that Hughes Vucenic, you're like, it doesn't matter if this isn't good. It's so entertaining. It's like, it's frustrating.
But the UFC often just look at records alone. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Though I do know, because I saw Harry Hardwick speaking with Kyle Diamond of Violent Money TV. He's featured on this channel before as well, saying that he knows for a fact that there are going to be UFC scouts at this Cage Warriors event. So the fact
this Cage Warriors,
specifically this Cage Warriors London.
Interesting. Also, they don't need to send scouts over. Just watch. You own the TV rights. It's not like you're going to the Brazilian second league to scout the next Neymar. It's not Moneyball. It's pretty simple. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it is frustrating. I think it's like, it's been a recent discussion with guys. Obviously George Hardwick having to go to contenders. I think that's because they need to get certain viewerships for ESPN events and events they're putting on. And that's why they're having these guys over. But regardless, Vucenic, Hughes, Charrier, although the record, he is better than his record is than his record shows. And obviously, the classic saying, records are for DJs. That's it, mate.
Look, that's just 4 fights. I guess 5 if you include Hardwick, that are all sensational. Shout out Will Curry's on the card as well, trying to bounced back from the Stanton loss. And also Luke Riley, who is one of those next gen guys. Very short notice addition to the card, but Riley is like electric every time you see him fight. Just like puts hands on his opponents like no one else. Not a huge amount of power, but just like volume, just a pure, a bit like like Holloway-esque in that. Like obviously not comparing, but in just terms of like the flurries and stuff, he's super entertaining fight to watch, and he gets the crowd going as well. So yeah, any last ones to go over, or are you happy with rounding us?
Yeah, listen, I think it's difficult. We would love to talk about every single name, but it would just take ages because there's so many. If you want to watch the kind of next generation, who's up and coming, who's the best kind of prospects that are coming through from the UK, Ireland scene, whatever. There are so many talented fighters on here. And Cage Warriors, they put on a great show. I like Cage Warriors. I just think underappreciated,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a banger of card. Definitely tune in. Obviously on UFC Fight Pass. Murdo has interviews with Fleminas at least. Anyone else from this card?
No. I have the main event next week. Shachak. He's fighting in Rome next week. Another great card. Also interviewed James Power. He's fighting on that card next week. So
and interview with Ben Kelly coming as well.
Yeah. Lots of good Cage Warriors action. You should check out. It's just if you've got, if you're a UFC or an MMA fan, you should have Fight Pass already. So it's basically it's like free to watch anyway,
Yeah, definitely tune in. Obviously maybe we'll manage to get together again for another Rome preview. We'll see. But yeah, definitely tune in, subscribe. Murdo's got interviews coming left, right, and center on the channel right now. So we out.